Good evening. I'm Kelly Wright. Thanks for joining me as we spend this next hour together. I do hope that you're safe and well, taking care of yourself and your family because you matter. My opening observations tonight: Black women rock, and they will serve as a pivotal political force to be reckoned with in this upcoming presidential election. Yet, let me remind you that not long ago, the late Malcolm X once stated this about the concern that he had for Black women. He stated, "The most disrespected person in America is the Black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the Black woman. And the most neglected person in America is the Black woman." He was right then, and he's still right today. But the times are changing. That is why Joe Biden's choice to make Senator Kamala Harris his running mate for vice president is so historical and so pivotal. It's like Michelle Obama when she became the first Black woman to serve as the First Lady of the United States. Now, no matter what side of the aisle you're on politically, whether you're conservative or liberal, Republican or Democrat, left or right, or you're caught in between because both parties have not served you well, the bottom line is the picking of Kamala Harris is huge and it's historical, and it means a lot to so many Black women across this country because their confidence is built up now and they're engaged and they have the momentum to keep moving forward, to keep lifting other women up. The bottom line is this: what Joe Biden did in making this choice, some people might say it's a safe choice. Others might call it courage. I take you back to Rosa Parks, who sat on that bus in Montgomery and launched a Montgomery bus boycott. And then that went on to start a civil rights movement that changed our world here in America. She stated this about courage: "We must have courage, determination, to go on with the task of becoming free, not only for ourselves, but for the nation and the world, cooperating with each other, having faith in God and ourselves." And that is what Black women feel today. They have never lost their stride, and their fight continues to be not only a force to be reckoned with politically, but in every strata of life. Boardrooms in corporate America, life at the family table. They want to make a difference. And because of that, Black women do rock. And those are my opening observations. So joining me now on discussing the historic rise of Kamala Harris is a woman who knows about history firsthand because she witnessed it through the eyes of Rosa Parks and so many other people that she has been in the company of, taking their pictures. She is a celebrity photographer, and she's made history herself in her own right. And she is Monica Morgan. Monica, good to have you on the program today.
Thank you for asking me. It's an honor to be here.
You know, it's been a while since you and I have talked, and I'm just so proud of your career. It's quite a career, with all the people that you've taken pictures of, and you've witnessed history. You've been there in the room, so to speak, literally in the room, taking pictures of various things that have gone on. The Million Man March, Rosa Parks, so many other people, and we're going to talk about that. But first, I want to talk about you. How did Monica Morgan learn to pick up a camera and begin this journey that has actually taken you to the world?
Well, I actually fell into photography. I wanted to be an actress, but my mother said she wasn't going to feed me for the rest of my life, so I needed to find something else to do. Well, little did I know, once I graduated from Wayne State University, I would have an opportunity to go into public relations. So as a result of that position, I was supposed to be able to take photographs. So I actually used my theatrical abilities to make them think I was able to take images. I got the job, got a quick 5-10 minute lesson from a photographer whose equipment I bought, and actually started to take photographs. I began to enjoy it. I did more of it. I started to write for the Michigan Chronicle, but they wouldn't pay me initially as a freelancer, they paid me for my photographs. And I realized that I liked photography better because when I was writing, either you got it right or wrong. You had to pre-edit, you had to times go through writer's block. Well, with photography, it was either right or wrong. Either it happened or it didn't happen. And I just enjoyed that better. So I started to focus on photography, and that became my passion.
That's amazing. And so now with this historic announcement of Kamala Harris being named as a VP pick for Joe Biden, do you see yourself being on the campaign trail, getting pictures of her in those historical moments that she will undoubtedly make with this campaign?
I do see myself doing that. However, another thing that I've actually transitioned to is speaking. So I've taken some of the images of my past and I actually use them to inspire people to follow their dream. So I see myself taking some photographs, but I also see myself speaking about what's going on the campaign trail. And I can't wait because, I mean, she is a fearless fighter for the voiceless. I can't wait to actually capture her energy photographically and vocally.
Yeah, I want you to stay with me because I want to come back and talk about some of those historical moments. I really want to unpack that because you and I met on an historical journey as well many years ago. And we'll talk about some of that and what you've done since then or before that. Uh, Monica Morgan, an amazing and talented photographer, but more importantly, an incredible Black woman who's doing so much good, not only in her hood, but around the world. We'll be back with much more of Monica after this. Welcome back to the program. So I'm talking to Monica Morgan, who I have called a history-making photographer because of all the great work that she's done, the luminaries that she's actually photographed, and the life that she's lived through her lens by looking at others. And Monica, we're talking about the historic announcement of Kamala Harris and your history-making role as a Black female out there as a journalist, as a photojournalist. But there's someone else in your history that really loomed large in history, and that's Rosa Parks, who sat on that bus in Montgomery, Alabama, and life changed for her and for Black America after that. What was it like to be associated with Rosa Parks all those years as her personal photographer?
It was amazing. However, Rosa Parks called me a friend. She would always write in books to me or even on gifts that she had given me to a great photographer and a dear friend. And the dear friend part meant so much to me. It was as if I was with a friend oftentimes because she was so down to earth, so loving, so endearing. And it was as if I wasn't with Rosa Parks, the civil rights mother. It was as if I was just with this really, really nice person because behind the lens, she was the same as she was in front of it, a gentle spirit.
That's really incredible. What do you think she would say about Senator Kamala Harris being named to the vice presidential ticket, and for that matter, Michelle Obama, the first Black female to become the first lady of the United States?
Rosa Parks was always optimistic. She always spoke in the positive way. So she would probably say, "It's about time. I knew it was coming." That's just how she was. She would be that person that would just look at the good part of it and roll with it.
You also had some historical moments with Muammar Gaddafi, the leader of Libya, at the time that he was trying to actually broker some unity in Africa. Tell me what that was like to be in the room.
Well, I was the only African American in the room, the only woman oftentimes in the room, and the only American sometimes in the room. When he traveled, he would pitch a tent. He was nomadic and he loved tents. So, in the back of perhaps the whole entire hotel that he would have reserved for his team, he would pitch this tent and meet with dignitaries. And he said I captured his essence as a photographer, and he would allow me to be in that tent taking photographs. I was in the tent, I was in private rooms where there were meetings going on with heads of states from Africa and other places. And again, that was an amazing time just to be able to document people like Yasser Arafat, President Wade from Senegal, President Robert Mugabe, and just different leaders at the time.
And you're talking about leaders. One of the great leaders you had the occasion to be with is Nelson Mandela.
Yes. Now that was the most amazing time. As a child, I always had an interest in apartheid. I couldn't believe that there was still such a system that existed during my day and age. So when 1990 came and he had actually been released, I was honored to be selected by the Michigan Chronicle to document his historic visit to Detroit. Later on, when it was time for him to run for president or the first R-race elections, I also went to South Africa to see what would happen. And my third day there, a bomb went off. I ran towards the bomb. My images ran all over the world on the fronts of some newspapers via the Associated Press newswire. I was able to just document moments that were going on there. For some reason, people thought I had an end to him. I didn't have an end to him. I was just determined to tell the story. And that's what I did. And as a result of that, people were kind to me and allowed me access. So again, that was a memorable time to be at the Carlton Hotel when he accepted the presidency and people were dancing and Coretta Scott King was there and they did a dance Toy Toy. It was just amazing to be there at that time. And then I was there when he raised his hand and became president. So all of that is just something that I just will never, ever forget.
Monica, you also had the occasion to be there to document uh, Barack and Michelle Obama. What was that experience like?
Oh my gosh. I actually, at that time, had two very, very bad knees, and it was painful to do what I did, but it didn't matter. I was going to be there to document that history. That right there is a time that I don't know if I could ever describe it in words, because to be a part of that unfolding, to be there. I was actually in Chicago when he won the nomination, and I was there when he was inaugurated. Just something that I wish I could have shared with my grandfather and my grandmother who had gone on, and even with Rosa Parks, to imagine the looks on their faces that we would have actually seen an African American become president in these states and days and time. Just would have been amazing to see or hear their words about it.
I'm talking to Monica Morgan. She is a celebrity photographer. More importantly, though, I define her as being a history making photographer because she's there to record history, and people around the world have seen her pictures and her photographs, and just an amazing a body of work. And when we come back, Monica, I'd like to talk to you about some of the pain and travails that you've been through and how you've overcome. Uh, Obviously, I can guess that you've been able to do this based on what you said about Nelson Mandela and that power of forgiveness. We'll be back to talk to Monica about a personal journey that she went through that may help each and every one of us to understand clearly what's going on in her life and how she's impacting the world. Back with more after this. Welcome back. So I'm talking to Monica Morgan, and Monica, I've always defined you as a history-making photographer. Remember the first time I met you was back in back then, right after the O.J. Simpson trial, the first one where he was acquitted of murder. And of course, we were there in the Bahamas, Nassau, Bahamas, where O.J. had been invited to participate in a sickle cell anemia fundraising drive. We were there at the time that I was able to get an interview with him, and you were taking pictures of him, and you were telling me about all of this wonderful work that you've been doing. I marveled at the fact that you knew Rosa Parks, that you were doing so many other things. Well, going on beyond that, you also were able to capture the images of the Million Man March. You were there. I was there, and you were there and captured pictures of Louis Farrakhan up close and personal in ways that perhaps many people did not see him. Before we talk about your personal journey and what you've been through, what was it like to be there for the Million Man March?
Well, the interesting thing is that my photograph was actually selected to be the photo that represented the Million Man March. And it was an image that I had taken of Minister Farrakhan. And that right there was a great honor. I rented a helicopter and took aerial views of the march. And I was also able to take images from the stage. That right there in itself was amazing because there were women who were on that stage who had played a part, and they were acknowledged. Rosa Parks was there, Betty Shabazz, Maya Angelou, of course, Mother Khadijah, the wife of Minister Farrakhan. There were just women there who had played and a role in the Million Man March. They were behind those men, although they didn't stand out front. So it just shows that women always play a part, whether they're known to have played a part or they're in the background working.
Yeah.
And that evening, I was able to go to CNN and actually watch the reviews with the minister and other people who had played a major part. We were there watching those numbers come through and listening to the lies actually that were told about how few people that were there. And those reports did not reflect the truth. There were it had to be over 2 million or more people. But because Minister Farrakhan was over it, he would never get that type of credit.
I appreciate you so much, Monica. Thank you for coming on the program. Got mad love and respect for you. Keep doing all the great things you're doing. And don't be a stranger to this show. Of course, we're not strangers to each other. It's good to catch up with you and hear your amazing story of accomplishment against all odds. And thanks for being
Thank you,
encouraged.
Kelly, so very much for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Monica Morgan, everyone, history-making photographer. Make sure you check her out. Where can we check you out? Where can we find you?
My website is monicamorganphotography.com. And also I have a new one I'm working on, monicamorganspeaks.com.
Looking forward to hearing more and having you on the program more. It's good to be reconnected and just love what you're doing. God bless you. Praying for you always.
Thank you. God bless you too.
We're coming back with more after this. Welcome to the program, and joining me now is Dr. Missy Johnson. She's the founder of Fearless Women Rock LLC and CTC, Professional Development Institute. Now, I want to point out something just before I bring her on. Dr. Missy is the recipient of the President Obama Lifetime Achievement Award and the Michigan Chronicle Women of Excellence executive trainer, speaker, and international Amazon 3 times best-selling author. She's joining us now. And Dr. Missy, you're also a certified John Maxwell corporate trainer and neuroscience leadership coach. You got a lot going on.
Yes. But, hard work pays off,
Isn't that the truth? Hard work does pay off. And I'm so delighted that you could join us today, especially on your birthday. So let me just say happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
That's good. Fantastic. So on your birthday, is the name of Kamala Harris part of your birthday present?
It really is. Oh my God, you have no idea. When that announcement was made, the first thing that I thought of was back in 2008, I was invited to President Barack Obama's presidential election if he was to become president in Chicago at Grant Park. And what it said was the title. I just get so emotional thinking about it. Front Row to History. That was my email, Front Row to History. And if he was to become president in 2008, it would be the front row to history. But not only would he be the front row to history, but I was also, and my husband, we were also invited to be a guest to the front row to history. So we were actually President Obama invited guests.
That's fantastic. And now you're on the front row to history in terms of watching what's happened with Senator Kamala Harris now being named as the first Black woman to be a vice presidential running mate. Of course, she's running along Joe Biden. And you know, when politics enters in, there's the presidential attacks on Kamala Harris's background. There's the
Absolutely.
right wing attacking her as well. Of course, that's expected from the Republican side. But then there's also the progressive left on the Democrat side, which is also attacking the decision. Nevertheless, it is still historical and means so much for women of color to see that she has attained this historic and meteoric rise in her career.
I would agree, because what happens is that, you know, when they talk about, you know, equal pay and things like that, you know, we as Black women, we don't get that. Let's just keep it real. We do not get that. And when I think about her just being on the ticket, you know, for the front row of history, I call it a front row of history again. You know, when I think about that, it is just so, I'm gonna say it like Dalai Lama said it, that the Western world will be changed by a woman. That's what the Dalai Lama said. And because of that, and because she's on the ticket, I think this is a precedent time for us as women, especially Black women, to come out and support her so we can have the front row to history, but also make changes in the things and the environment and in the economy and in the world.
Now, you worked in the automotive industry for a number of years, and
Yes.
you saw a lot of change take place there in terms of systemic changes within the automotive industry. How does that translate, if you will, into the mainstream of America and, you know, a Kamala Harris being named? What does that say about where we're coming as a nation?
Absolutely. What it says is that women are important, what it says that women are necessary, and what it says that women matter. You know, one thing that happened in the automotive industry is that they always talk about the work-life balance, work-life balance. You know, so sometimes, you know, it wasn't really about men, but mothers having, you know, women having children, trying to balance their life with their children, just trying to balance their life going to school, because we're always trying to attain higher so we can do better. So when that comes into play in the industry that I work in, I have seen the change over time in the automotive industry, and it's constantly changing every day.
And the automotive industry, in the wake of all that's happened with this pandemic, and of course all that's happened racially in this country since the death of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, are you seeing something that satisfies you from various corporate concerns within the automotive industry? Are they investing enough into the Black community and Black businesses?
What I would say is that it's always work to do. You know, a lot of times that people outside of the culture, the Black culture, they don't understand our behaviors. They don't understand our psychographics. They just don't understand us as a people, as the things that we have been through, the struggles that we have had. So I think just getting a clearer understanding of where we came from and how hard we try to get with our counterpart. So I think just understanding and educating and understanding company culture is very important in this time, whether it's being physical inside the workplace or in a virtual world. Just really getting people to understand about diversity and inclusion is very important, understanding core values and behaviors of Black people.
I want you to stay with me, because on the other side of the break, I'd like to talk to you more about what you're doing specifically to address that and really drilling down deep into the core values that we as Black people need to have in order to continue to move forward and lift this country upward. And a lot of people say that's a Herculean task, yet we've been doing it for 400 years. We'll be back with more of Dr. Missy Johnson after this. Dr. Missy, you know, you customized a lot of presentations to meet the needs of your audiences and your clients. And you've got this incredible background in the automotive industry. What are you trying to convey to Black America and to all Americans for that example? But in particular, what are you trying to say to Black women about empowering them and moving them forward in entrepreneurship?
Tell your story, be authentic. A lot of times, even myself, I wore a mask. I was so silent. You talk about all these achievements and everything. I hid behind that. I hid behind all these degrees because I was always looking for validation. I was always looking for acceptance. On the outside, I looked pristine, but on the inside, I was still trying to equate myself to my colleagues. So in this time, especially in this season that we're in, it's very important to be authentic in telling your story. It's very important to get out and build your brands, build your business, but also learn the foundational structure of that. Because a lot of times we just get out and make a cookie and sell the cookie, but we don't know what to do to bake the cookie, put the ingredients in the cookies. We got to have systems in place. We have to have strategies in place, and we have to share our stories and help another sister along the way.
Yeah, help each other, not hate each other. Because
Yes.
a lot of hating going on, but we need to do more motivating. Let me ask you, what's your story, and how has it become such a powerful narrative?
Well, I have a whole bunch of stories, Kelly, but we ain't gonna go there. That was a story for another day.
All right,
But what
you
I
got
will
it.
tell you is, I have beat breast cancer. I was going into stage 4 breast cancer. I had no symptoms or anything. And right before that, I was in a coma for 47 days. I had a 3% chance of living just 4 years ago, and the doctors gave up on me. But it's because of the vision, because of the faith that I had. How I look at it now is that God, he had me resting because I had bigger work to do when I didn't even know that I had bigger work to do. So that is what I do. I help women to tell their stories. A lot of women right now are transitioning from their 9 to 5. They don't know the first thing about going from employee to entrepreneurship. This is not no plaything. This is for real. A lot of companies are laying people off. People are getting, I was just on I was on the plane. I was listening to somebody talking about a buyout. So now we need to show them. I need to show them, or somebody needs to show them how to establish your business from the bottom up.
That's powerful, and I'm so glad that you were able to overcome all of those health issues, and it's really miraculous that you're sitting here talking to me today on your birthday, by the way.
My birthday.
I'm not going to ask you how old you are. I guess 21. But
Yes.
in saying all that, what's your message to Black women based on what you've been through?
Never give up.
Yeah.
There's greatness inside of you. You have a story to tell. Someone is waiting to hear your voice. A lot of times we think that we're all alone in this thing. I thought I was all alone. We think that we're so alone, but there's so many women out there waiting for you to tell your story and share your story and help them. What I decided is that I have a vision. Even though I can't see my vision, I have a vision. And my vision is going to be manifested. I'm not going to say I don't have the money. I'm not going to say any of that because we are what we think. Thought becomes things. So we are what we think. So I think that whatever I set my mind to do, or whatever a woman sets their mind to do, you can do it. I'm the kind of coach that I'm going to help you get to the well, and I'm going to help you drink the water. I might push your head down in so you can get a taste of what it tastes like. That's what I'm going to do. But after that, it's on you. But I am not going to leave you alone. I'm going to be there with you all the way. Let your vision be manifested in your stories through books, business, and brands.
Powerful. How can we get in touch with you?
Yes, you can get in contact me at askdrmissy@gmail.com. You can also contact me. Of course, everybody's on Facebook. People say, don't use Facebook. Look, everybody on Facebook. Ask Zuckerberg. Just DM me. Just look for Ask Dr. Missy on all platforms. AskDrMissy. And what I want to leave with you is that with Kamala Harris, the VIP, potential Vice President of the United States, to let your vision be your voice and let your voice matter because your story matters. one thing about me is that she's fearless. And on my birthday, I say it's like divine order, like the angels is looking out at me because my company is Fearless Women Rock. Yeah. And when I see the word fearless and I see Kamala Harris fearless, I was like, fearless women really do rock. And we need to support her in every way that we can. Bring your aunts, bring your grandmothers, bring your sisters. You know, the brackets, the Gen X, the Z, make them register, get them out to register and educate. Just don't make them vote. Tell them the importance of bringing the front row to history.
Thank you so much, Dr. Missy. You're positive, you're powerful, and you're putting out a great message. Faith over fear. That's really what matters. And you matter. So once again, happy birthday, Dr. Missy Johnson. Thank you for being on the program. God bless you.
God bless you.
We're coming back with much more after the break. So welcome back to the program. Joining me now is Nicole Roberts-Jones, and she is a woman who believes in purpose, power, and profit, and she's helping a lot of Black women throughout America understand and engage in their entrepreneurial spirit. She's here to talk about that. I should just break down what Nicole Roberts does. She is uniquely gifted at one thing, and that's drawing out what's best in every one of us, whether we're male or female, Black or white, but she's helping a lot of people develop the brilliance and taking that brilliance all the way to the bank. And certainly at a time of COVID-19, we need to know that. But Nicole, before we get started on you, let's talk about your response and reaction to Senator Kamala Harris being historically named as a vice presidential candidate to run with Joe Biden. And I understand you're an AKA just like she is.
I am. And I'll tell you, first of all, thank you for having me. Sure. The thing that I think makes me most excited about her is that she gives us permission, right? As women and really as women of color. So, I'm from California, by the way. So she was the first Black woman district attorney in California. Then she became our first, I'm going to mess up all her titles, right? Our first, and she was many first, let me say that, right?
Attorney General.
So I think what she does, Attorney General, thank you. What she does is just continues to give us permission. And so I love that the most about her.
When you say permission to do what?
Yes, love it. So to go outside of the box, the world will tell us as women that we're supposed to be one way. And many of us, including me, I started on a path of what other people told me I should do or be. She gives us permission to think outside of that box as a first of many.
Having stated all that, what are you doing to help women today?
So what I do is I help women take their gifts and get paid for them, really to create multiple streams of income from them. As we're in this pandemic, the thing I know for sure is your purpose, your gift will never be canceled, right? And so for me, my business has been doing better in the pandemic because I'm at home, and guess what? I already worked from home. So I'm really helping women take their gifts and understanding how to create multiple streams of income from it, which I've been doing, by the way. It's just gotten better because of the pandemic.
I want to talk more about that. If you'll stay with me, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll be talking to you about exactly what you're doing and specifically how it's impacting the lives of so many women across this country, especially during this pandemic. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Welcome back to the program. So I'm talking to Nicole Roberts-Jones, and she has an amazing program that really impacts the lives of Black women and their entrepreneurial spirit. Nicole, tell me more about your program and how it's going.
Sure. So I will tell you the one thing that I see so many women do. By the way, I've been doing this for 27 years, even though I'm only 28. I've been doing this for 27 years. So the thing that I've seen so many women do is we overlook our intellectual property and we give it away for free, right? So anytime someone says to you, can I pick your brain? Can I run something past you? And you allow it, you're giving away, I always like to say, your cookie for free, right? When that's the very thing that's intrinsic to your DNA, your distinct natural ability, and it's the way you were meant to get paid. And so really what I do is help women understand that, how to package it, and then serve all those that need that gift inside of you. And when you do that, of course, you get paid to do that. So.
Well, that's really great. When women come to you, do they know about your background as being a talent coach and a casting director formerly with BET?
I love that you know all this stuff. So no, most people don't know all this stuff. So what's interesting is when I look at my first career, so my dream job ever since I was 7 years old was to be in entertainment. And I did that. I graduated my bachelor's degree in TV and film. I went into TV and film. I worked for some great networks, great TV shows, working in casting and producing, but I felt like something was missing. And I'm sharing that with you because I know many women, we get into careers that maybe was the thing we dreamed of. Maybe it was something someone else told us we should do, and we are successful in it, right? I still miss the parties, by the way, but something seems like it's missing. And so when I began to talk to my friends about that, they kept thinking, what's going on with you? So to make a long story short, I started to ponder and look at what are my gifts and talents. Now, here we are 27 years later. I understand what I'm doing now. I am still producing. I am still talent management because that's really what I do with women. And so it wasn't that I was doing anything wrong. I just had another layer to discover for myself. And I think so many women get into positions, get into careers, and they don't stop long enough to sit with their own soul.
You know, the reason why I brought up your background is because you have worked with a lot of celebrities, a lot of people who have gone on to do some great things they're already doing, and now they're doing more. And I wanted to talk about it because a lot of people want to know what you know, and then they know that you care about them, and you're bringing that care to them. So now that you've come full circle and you're doing what your passion really is and what your purpose is on this planet, what are women saying to you as a result of being in your classes and getting the instructions from you to make their lives purposeful, powerful, and profitable?
So I call it the lighthouse effect. You
Yeah.
know, if you ever go to Massachusetts, which is where I live, and you go out to the Cape and you see how dark it is at night. And when the ships need to find their way to shore, the only thing that can lead them is that lighthouse. And so for me, standing in the full power of my gift, there's one of my favorite Bible verses is let your light so shine among men and women. I added that they may see your good work and glorify your Father in heaven. So when my light is on and I'm being all of me unapologetically, that is the effect. So I hear things like, oh, Nicole, like people that knew me, 20 something years ago, there's something different about you. There's nothing different. I'm just standing in all of me, right? I'm not compromising. I'm not being mediocre. I'm not dimming my light because someone else may be uncomfortable, right? So I think for me, the very thing people see in me is the very thing I hold the space for women to do for themselves as well.
Now, there are a lot of excuses out there. There are a lot of women who will say, but I can't do it because the president says this. I can't do it because Congress says this. I can't do it because I'm up against this. I'm up against that. Excuses can paralyze us with analysis, and we never get started. So what's your message to women who are sitting on the fence, sitting with their talent and not really expanding upon that because they're paralyzed by fear in terms of what's going on in this world today?
So what I say to that is your comfort zone is where dreams go to die. So when you do something outside of your norm, which is why I love Kamala, by the way, because she keeps stepping outside her comfort zone. I'm sure first of all, running for president, when she was running for the Democratic ticket, right, was hard enough. But now look at where she is. And that's not comfortable. None of what she's done is comfortable. Me starting my business when I didn't know what the heck I was doing 27 years ago wasn't comfortable. But nothing great happens in comfort. So your comfort and your conviction can never coexist. So excuses are you trying to stay in your comfort zone. Your excuses are you trying to make it easy. And God never said anything that was great was going to be easy. So if you want it, you've got to be willing to stretch and grow to get it.
Wow. I like that. How do we get in touch with you?
So my website, NicoleRobertsJones.com, is where you go. And and women that want to really grow your business there, if you go to my website, there's a quiz there. Take the quiz. It'll help you figure out where you are and what your next steps are.
I appreciate you so much. And thanks for sharing your insights and what you're doing to give back to the community. and you've been doing it for the past 27 years. I hope that it continues to grow and flourish in the midst of this pandemic. Nicole Roberts-Jones, thank you for being a part of the program today. Don't be a stranger.
Thank you for having me. Yes, thank you for having me. I appreciate what you're up to.
Thank you. God bless you. We'll be back with more after this. And welcome back. I want to thank all of the guests who appeared on tonight's program, and I certainly want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy day to watch. I appreciate you immensely. And my final word is this. Michelle Obama stated, success isn't about how much money you make, it's about the difference you make in people's lives. And she added, you may not always have a comfortable life, and you will not always be able to solve all the world's problems at once, but don't ever underestimate the impact you can have, because history has shown us that courage can be contagious and hope can take on a life of its own. Hopefully, we've been ignited, and united to keep spreading not fear, not hate, but love, freedom, and peace. Good night.
Come on, all aboard.
Let me break it down for you like this.
The rhythm of love is easy to find if you're listening. The color of light isn't red, black, or white, but it's crimson. We all bleed the same. If you don't feel the groove, it's alright. Just give it time, give it time. Come on, y'all. Get on board. Mankind won't survive if our hearts beat inside a hateful rhythm. You see, love isn't bought, but comes with a price of forgiveness, and we all bleed the same. Yeah. If you don't feel it now, just wait. It's coming on, the love train. Just give it time, give it time. Get on board. That means you and you and you
on the love train.
get on board.
All creeds and colors,
Brothers
all sisters and
and
brothers
sisters,
on the love train.
get on board the love train. Everyone's invited. We're all united on the love train. Get on board. All creeds and colors, my sisters and brothers, get on board on the love train. Woo-hoo! Yeah, it's alright. Just give it time. Keep on marching on. Keep on being strong.